Welcome. Welcome, everybody. We have another IOTA Talks today. We have another Zen session together with Charlie from the Firefly team. As you guys know, we always try to educate you guys on the kind of lifestyle that we try to live, and the kind of lifestyle that I think all of us crypto holders should pursue is really Zen, right? We have to be Zen in this crypto market, because ultimately the ups and downs of crypto, either they drive you insane or they drive you towards the Zen lifestyle. And we have to just accept that only a roller coaster is leading us to the promised land, and we should really just enjoy the ride and stay focused, stay persistent, and most importantly, stay patient. And I bought this kimono. It took me like 10 minutes to trying and putting it on. I'm still a newbie. I'm gonna get better as we go along. I still have my little Zen garden, and I hope all of you are also prepared. We have Charlie coming on to the show in 10 minutes. I'll try and quickly recap about all of the exciting stuff that's been happening this week, give you some more context, and also try to put it into perspective. And afterwards, we can do a live stream on Firefly. Maybe you guys can already get started with preparing your addresses so we can send around some tokens, testnet tokens for fun. So maybe a quick off-topic discussion, actually. All of you might have been following what's been happening with this large ship in the Suez Canal. And it's just simply ridiculous what's been happening there. And people are like, I think the memes are pretty excellent, where people are trying to figure out the solution of how to actually get the ship out of its misery. And there's some very innovative ideas, like a ramp to try and solve this bottleneck. Ultimately, what do we learn from this, right? We need to be asynchronous. We need to use DAX. We cannot rely on blockchains for the future. And this is just a very interesting portrayal of how the real world is being bottlenecked by a single chain in that regard. I'm really curious how they're gonna get it out, because I read some of the numbers, and it's costing like hundreds of millions of dollars every day because these goods cannot get transported. And I think like 18-20% of global trade actually goes through the Suez Canal. So talk about fault tolerance. But yeah, like it's interesting what's happening in the real world. Let's talk about IOTA. We have Chrysalis, right, scheduled for the 21st, which starting the migration. 28th, we are actually starting the actual mainnet. So book it in your calendar. It's a big day where we need to think about what kind of community event we can do on that day, because it's quite historic that the mainnet is launching, and we should really celebrate the achievement of the team. You know, and I think we're going to discuss this more closely also with Charlie, like thinking about how far we've come with the project and where we've started. It's just amazing to see what the amazing people at the IOTA Foundation have built, and also just how much of an impact this will have. Many of us don't know that in full yet, right? We can only speculate. But most importantly, we have a very clear roadmap. We know where we're heading. We know what we have to do. And we also know that IOTA is not just another crypto asset, another speculative asset, but is really a technology for the real world. And we have some very exciting projects that are being built in parallel. One of the most exciting things about IOTA is that we're doing so many things at once, where everything is starting to come together. And I always really try to portray this image into people's heads, that IOTA is this beautiful mosaic that is now being really stitched together. All of these individual pieces, technologies, modules, libraries, frameworks, adoption use cases, and so on, are all coming together. And I think 2021 is really going to be one of the most exciting years. So this is just one example of, or like a few examples of what we are building and what we're going for. And there's a lot more to come. After Chrysalis, the last remaining piece for us is full decentralization of the IOTA mainnet. And we have a very concrete solution with Cordicide, where we are now going towards not just testnet, but towards this incentivized testnet in a couple of weeks. So that means all of you will be able to experience not just Chrysalis on the mainnet, but you will also be able to experience IOTA in its fully decentralized and fully unleashed form. So that will be absolutely amazing to watch. Another thread that is worthwhile to look at, Hans is really a great communicator. He knows how to put technical stuff into great words. And here in this thread, I can really encourage all of you to look at it. He basically portrayed what it actually means to be feeless and why it's one of the most crucial components, or one of the most crucial selling points and features of the IOTA protocol, and why it's really needed for this next industrial revolution. And this portrays very well why many of us are in IOTA. We're not in IOTA because we want to pursue higher staking yields by farming whatever asset, because all of that is short-lived. And while it might be an exciting casino for some time, it might be an exciting pastime, it's not sustainable. We at IOTA are focused on building sustainable technologies, right? And Hans portrays it here very well on what it means and why this part of the IOTA protocol is so crucial. So make sure to read his thread. Maybe I'll share it afterwards. But that also answers the question where Charles Hoskinson was talking about how IOTA is not feeless. Yeah, so I can highly encourage all of you to read it, and also for Charles to check it out. Maybe we can do a kimono session with Charles, because I think he would actually enjoy it. But yeah, feeless. Like if you think about IOTA, right? Feeless is our most important value proposition. That is why IOTA is going to be adopted in the real world, and that is why IOTA is such an amazing piece of technology and piece of infrastructure for the digital world. And it's really one of the main differentiators, or the key differentiator of IOTA versus all other protocols out there. And we have invested years of research and development to come up with this new protocol, and this protocol is coming live this year, right? So amazing times ahead. Something else that's very exciting, and this is where the community does a really tremendous job, is just being creative. And as all of you know, we are getting very serious about digital assets. Maybe a quick status update for all of you. We have written the RFC. We are updating it a little bit to make some changes that were provided by our team, by the community. First of all, to really support smart contracts with our digital assets framework, and to in a new way, and to also really support NFTs, where you can store metadata in your transaction IOTA and build NFT marketplaces. So it's absolutely exciting what's coming there. I think the RFC will be updated over the next few days, and we'll share it with all of you. The goal then with the progression for NFTs and also digital assets more broadly is to launch them on the GoShimmer network. That means that what is on the GoShimmer network will be exactly the same as what's going to be live on the IOTA mainnet. So that means that if you want to build an NFT marketplace, if you want to build a kind of bootstrap network for launching tokens, if you want to build a token foundry, you can start building that now, right? And you can test it on the GoShimmer network. GoShimmer is going into Nectar, incentivized testnet. So after we are ready to port this RFC to the IOTA mainnet, you can then just switch on the button, and it's going to work on the IOTA network as well. And you can transfer the assets over. So I think all of you can start building now. We can start building digital assets, applications, NFT marketplaces now. And I can really encourage all of you to reach out to us on Discord if you want to get any support, because ultimately we want to support all of you to be not just creative, but really also to build this ecosystem together with us. And I'm sure that this will be one of the most desired NFTs on the first IOTA marketplace. Let your imagination run wild about what is everything that is here. looks really amazing. And the deeper you look, the more obvious it gets just how amazing it is. Like we have robots doing a Zen garden here. We have the coordinator being killed here, and whale hunting here. And yeah, like it's absolutely amazing. Like when you have some time, take a look at it. It's a lot of fun. I wonder who the Teletubby actually is. It's interesting. Anyways, smart contracts. We had the alpha release a few weeks ago. Right now, IOTA smart contracts is being refactored with the recent changes that happened on the GoShimmer network. And basically what we are doing there is, first of all, make it possible to launch smart contracts on the Cordicide network. So you can deploy them, you can interact with them, but also really, we have a very concrete sort of roadmap, technical roadmap on how we want to progress there with integrating the Ethereum virtual machine and also with integrating other virtual machines. Because ultimately the goal of IOTA smart contracts is to be this sort of agnostic execution framework for you to easily run smart contracts on top of IOTA, leveraging the IOTA tangle to anchor your smart contract, to secure it, to enable the interoperability, but then really to enable the scalability and also leverage IOTA's feelessness. One of the very exciting features about our smart contract protocol is it's very much designed with flexibility in mind. That means that you can create a smart contract committee that runs your smart contract, basically saying that I define the individuals or the entities that secure my smart contract. You can also define a committee that is based on a consortium, right? Where we are a bunch of companies that came together and we want to launch our permissioned network on top of IOTA. As all of you can probably guess, that's a very exciting future for us because many companies are primarily building on permissioned networks right now, and now we can have best of both worlds, where enterprise use cases leveraging permission networks are able to be built on top of IOTA, leveraging IOTA security because it is permissionless, it is open, and also leveraging IOTA's feelessness and also the interoperability with the global network. Ultimately, the goal with smart contracts is to have an open marketplace where anybody can set up a validator node, where any smart contract is being secured by this open permissionless network, similarly to Ethereum. And that's really where we are progressing with smart contracts. The timelines for smart contracts, I think in the next couple of weeks, we should have another alpha release for the GoShimmer network. And I think it's all really coming together for the Nectar release to start building. One of our key focuses right now is to port over the Ethereum virtual machine. And just so all of you know, all of you who are really interested in working with IOTA, or if you're interested in working at IOTA, please go to jobs.iota.org. We have about 25 job openings right now. We're looking for many talented people to join our team, and it's an amazing culture. So if you want to work on smart contracts, digital identity, IOTA, if you're a researcher and so on, if you're a developer, if you're interested in doing market adoption, business analytics, please join and just apply on jobs.iota.org. So yeah, smart contracts moving forward well. I think we'll see more applications being built by the community. One exciting announcement of this week was our official partnership with Cartesi. Now, for those of you that don't know, Cartesi, Sergey Popov, co-founder of IOTA and great human being and fantastic mathematician, one of the best. He actually was one of the main reasons why Cartesi was founded, and he has been involved since its inception. Now, the idea behind Cartesi is rather simple or straightforward. We want to run a Linux virtual machine because obviously, if you think about decentralized applications, we want to go beyond just having a Solidity smart contract. We want to have very complex applications that run in a decentralized way, that are fully secure, and where everything can be verified ultimately, where you don't need to trust any single source of truth and where you don't have any fault faults, with a single point of failure. And Cartesi is really trying to bring the Linux virtual machine to the world of smart contracts. So you can actually execute Linux-based applications in this decentralized fashion. The way that it works is obviously rather complicated because there's a lot of math behind it, but ultimately they leverage a blockchain, or they leverage smart contracts to do state verifications if there's something invalid in the execution of the virtual machine. So you can actually trust that the application is being executed properly. And the Cartesi team has been on the market for, I think, for several years, 2 or 3 years. Don't quote me. And they're a really talented team, and we've been talking with them for quite some time. They're very excited about IOTA and obviously IOTA smart contracts. So the way that this partnership is working is we're actually working together with them on improving IOTA smart contracts, leverage their expertise, and also get their input on certain components there. And then ultimately the objective is to integrate your Cartesi virtual machine into ISCP, so that all of you that want to build applications on top of IOTA can do that using a new set of developer tools and a new set of virtual machines. So I think it's really exciting. And if you think about what makes smart contracts so powerful, today, the main thing that makes smart contracts so powerful in Ethereum is this concept of interoperability, right? If I create an asset in one smart contract, I can actually transfer it to another smart contract, make autonomous decisions on that because of the ERC20 standard, and then start trading it around and leverage the open ecosystem. Best example is I buy an NFT art and I can take out a loan on that NFT art. It's crazy world, but this is where we're heading to. The next phase will be this composability. That means I want to leverage different virtual machines, different technologies to build up my stack, to build up my decentralized application. And what we have there right now is this concept of cross-chain applications, where decentralized applications built on multiple ledgers, multiple protocols, which is very exciting. And I think we at IOTA, we should really be focused on further leveraging, further improving this composability and also these cross-chain use cases and decentralized applications. So we're moving in the right direction with that. And just so you know, to set expectations right, this Cartesi partnership is a long-term partnership. It's not something where you can expect immediate value out of it. We wanted to communicate this with you guys because we're going to do more together with the Cartesi team over the next few weeks. And once ISCP is ready with this sort of sandbox environment where you can easily plug in different virtual machines, Cartesi will be one of the first ones that will offer on top of our platform. So it's very exciting. You can expect a lot more when it comes to IOTA smart contracts. We are ramping that up. And that actually brings me to the last point before I bring Charlie on. GoShimmer. We had another great release this week. Right now, the team is really focused on rapidly evolving towards the Nectar release. If you run a GoShimmer node, make sure to update to 0.5.3. The team there is doing an amazing job and is really all coming together. As you can see here, we already updated it with the new RFC for tokenization. So it's really all coming together with GoShimmer and with the Nectar release. So I think with Chrysalis and the end of April timeline, we'll have a lot of exciting stuff to try out together with all of you. And without further ado, let me actually open the blog post because I haven't done that yet. Let's talk about the most exciting release that we have had this year, probably. Let me bring Charlie on board. Charlie, can you hear me?
How you doing, man?
Wait, I need to put up my headphones.
I can hear you. Yeah. How you doing, man?
Good. You know, these kimonos are super comfortable. Like,
liberating, man. So liberating. Yeah. I see you're not wearing a t-shirt underneath, which is.
No, I'm completely naked. I'm doing this the hardcore way.
Very nice. Very nice. You're well on your way to becoming a Zen master.
Yeah, totally. I really need to learn a lot more on it. And one thing that I'm super excited about in hopefully Q3, that we can do an Asia tour. Spend a few months in Asia, because there's so much unrealized potential for us there, where we need to do an Asia tour.
And get to visit some cool countries. Like Japan, for example, is an incredible country. I've never even been, but I love the culture.
Yeah.
So.
You've never been? I always thought you've been there.
No, I'd love to though. I mean, I wear their clothes, but I've never been.
So tell me, what do you do to zen out?
What do I do to zen out? I mean, I'm generally quite a zen person. Like I don't really get stressed, and we've had some pretty stressful times at the foundation, I'll be honest. Like in these sort of high stakes stress environments, I kind of just manage to stay chilled. My main tip is going outside, going on walks. I think whenever things get a little bit fuzzy, it's worth going outside, getting in nature, and unwinding your mind, I guess.
Yeah, totally. I remember one of the, I always try to say this: if you're so long in crypto, either you really lose yourself, or you just really get used to this high pressure environment. Because even though the community is getting pressured with minus 10%, we are the ones that really bear a lot of the weight. And I remember last year, it was like a year ago or so, with the Trinity stuff.
Yeah,
that was high stress.
That was the most high stress situation I've experienced, but we managed to pull through in the end.
Yeah, totally.
That required some serious zen, I think, to pull through, but we managed it and came back, I think, a lot stronger because of it.
Yeah, and fundamentally, that's a testament to us at IOTA and to the IOTA Foundation, because no matter how hard you get hit in the face, we come back stronger. And we don't give up.
You can't kill IOTA. Like multiple things have happened that should have been, a death rattle almost for IOTA, but like we're unkillable. We always come back, and we come back stronger each time.
Exactly. But great. So tell me about Firefly. Let me share this screen.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Tell me about Firefly and what you're most excited about and where we stand right now. Because, or maybe let's try and rephrase this. Like, tell me about how you actually started in the foundation and what the journey was so far. Because there were some interesting discussions that we had in the very early days before Trinity existed. Maybe let's start actually with the origins of all of this. The original GUI wallet.
Sure. I remember this. I mean, some people love the GUI wallet. I've never been that fond of it, but it was reliable. It did what it did. You had to follow some pretty rigid instructions, but provided you follow those, it by and large worked. But yes, I mean, when this was a thing, I was a student at UCL. I was doing my computer science masters, and I heard about a possible dissertation project on IOTA. I was introduced to Navin, who basically was aware of how poor this GUI wallet was from a user experience point of view, and he was like, "Yeah, let's work on this. This is a thing that's lacking in the IoT ecosystem. Let's really try and make something good here." And that's how Trinity was born. So I began working on Trinity for my master's dissertation, initially just a mobile wallet, and then it got picked up by the IOTA Foundation. I remember you liked it. You were like, "Yeah, fuck it, let's hire you. Let's take this on." And then it grew from there. Trinity became a mobile and desktop wallet. Was the official wallet for the IOTA Foundation, and generally solved what was quite a fiddly problem in one-time signatures quite well. It made transacting on IOTA safe for humans, when previously it was restrictive, I would say, with one-time signatures. And then, sorry,
look at this. Like, you remember this case actually, the IOTA seed generator. This is one of the videos that he made.
Yeah, this is
for those of you that don't know, like this is just a funny coincidence. And basically, as all of you know, if you're the ultimate master of your keys, and the most important key that you have is your private key. And there was this one guy that set up an online seed generator. And ultimately, like, it was a website, iotaseed.io. And hundreds of people utilized it to generate their private keys. And ultimately, he ran away with around $10 million worth of IOTA tokens. But the good thing is that the police was able to catch up to him.
Yeah, I think it was like Interpol or Europol managed to find him. It turned out they actually lived quite near my parents' house in Oxford.
Really?
Just some guy living in Abingdon in Oxfordshire.
Yeah. No, that's a funny.
Scary.
Yeah, it's really scary. Yeah. But yeah, Trinity, right? Trinity was such an amazing progression from the GUI wallet that we had.
It was a big step up.
Yeah, totally.
But you know, I mean, Trinity was reasonably well engineered, but at the same time, compared to Firefly, it was not well engineered because it was it wasn't really future thinking. It was trying to solve a problem that was here and now, which was let's make IOTA usable for people in a nice way. And I mean, it solved that problem well, but then it didn't really create any sort of engineering architecture to then expand from. You know, you're kind of restricted because the majority of the app architecture was written in JavaScript, which is not the most performant language, and the app itself, all of the views and everything were very tightly coupled with the rest of the application. So yeah, I mean, it's important that we threw it out, I think, in many ways, which was triggered by the MoonPay hack, I guess.
No, totally, and I think in general it was good to start fresh and to rethink it all. Like I guess the best description was that Trinity was the most perfect solution that we could look for back in the day when we were looking for an alternative. When did Trinity launch again? Was it 2018?
There was a long beta period.
It was a very long beta period, yeah.
Yeah, we made some mistakes with kind of big, lofty ambitions of how many features we wanted to include, given the small size of the team at the time, with like Umair, Rajiv, Rehat, who's since left the foundation. So yeah, I mean, I think the betas were very long. I'd say about 2018, 2019, depending on when you mobile or desktop.
We announced it in 2019. That's interesting. I guess this was the full release then. Yeah, I guess this was a full release. Yeah, so Trinity was really this monolithic piece of software. So tell me about how Firefly is different and why you think it's so much better. Because I think that's really something important to convey here.
Sure. So, I mean, for some context, I mean, we keep alluding to this MoonPay hack. It's probably worth giving a little bit of context around that. Back in about a year ago today, we found out that the Trinity wallet was basically in an active hack, and we had to shut down the network. The coordinator, this training wheel switch that we have to kind of help IOTA in the early stages, we turned that off and basically stopped value transactions to try and work out what the hell was going on. Slowly discovered what was going wrong, and that a vulnerability in the dependency that we'd added with MoonPay had basically allowed the attacker to exfiltrate seeds from the wallet. So with that in mind as context, we basically realized that we need to really, really ramp up how seed handling is established within the wallet. And we brought in Daniel, who is the lead of Stronghold. And we basically rethought the architecture completely. And, traditional wallets will use stuff like the keychain on the OS to store seeds and stuff. But the problem there is that every time you need to conduct any sensitive operations, you have to pull the seed out of the keychain, bring it into memory that the rest of the application also has access to, and then conduct those cryptographic operations. So the idea with Stronghold is basically to just give you this secure enclave in which you can conduct cryptographic operations, so that this is completely separate from the rest of the application. Stronghold is built in Rust, which has proven to be a nice language, a difficult one to manage from my point of view, given that I'm not familiar with it. So I'm learning the difficulties of managing a project involving languages that you yourself don't know.
Right.
But yeah, so I mean, Stronghold is a very critical piece in the wallet, and that interfaces with a separate library that we built called Wallet RS, which basically exports all of the wallet's transactional logic, all of the accounting, all of the transactions, everything like that into a single Rust package. And this sort of like modular approach has been really useful because it means that, you don't have this tightly coupled application. You can actually just export these libraries for other developers to use. So one thing we realized again with the Trinity hack is that, you don't want a singular wallet in the entire ecosystem. You want multiple wallets, multiple third-party wallets. And by exposing these libraries, the very secure library in Stronghold and the malleable, flexible library in Wallet RS, the idea is that, other developers can take this, build their own wallet applications or applications that need to use a wallet. And build their own products.
So basically, we one of the most important key innovations of Firefly is that is a much more modular architecture where we have 3 distinct repositories: Stronghold, Wallet RS, and the Firefly user interface UI, right? And Firefly then built it all together and leverages Wallet RS and Stronghold, which are kind of like these independent libraries that work on their own, right?
Yeah. So, for example, the CLI wallet, which has no graphical interface, that
just for you, CLI is a command line interface.
Yeah. So a headless wallet that has no visual thing for users to use, that uses Stronghold and Wallet RS. And I mean, just to kind of demonstrate how useful these libraries are, Lucas, who's brilliant dev on our team, he managed to build a CLI wallet in a few hours. So
nice.
They're very flexible libraries for these sorts of use cases.
And the exchanges also use Wallet RS, right? From what I remember. Yeah.
Exchanges are integrating with Wallet RS. So, I mean, one thing that I guess is important to mention is that while Wallet RS is written in Rust, we've basically followed this pattern where the core library is in Rust, and then we expose bindings into other languages. So, whether you're using Python or JavaScript or whatever, you can still leverage these libraries underneath through way of these bindings. I mean, that's actually what Firefly does. Firefly uses the Node.js bindings on the Electron side. Nice.
Yeah, like we should absolutely do a session on Rust and the libraries that we have there, because I think those are really important to understand. And Dave did an open source series on Wallet RS and the libraries in general. So I can encourage all of you to check it out, especially those of you that want to build on IOTA. So with Firefly, we have this modular architecture. The main objective of this is obviously to be modular, which makes it much easier to maintain the code base, much easier for others to contribute to Firefly. But ours also makes it much more secure, because the most important components, like those components that really handle key signing, that handle the seed, they're written in Rust. They're fully audited. They are independent libraries, so they are standalone, and Firefly just plugs it into the wallet, right?
Exactly, yeah. And we also use the actor system, which was quite an interesting innovation that Daniel came up with, where rather than calling functions in the wallet as you would do when you're building applications, typically you are passing messages around, so you can kind of create this nice boundary between different parts of the wallet and restrict what sort of calls are permitted, what sort of requests are allowed to be made, all of this kind of stuff. And I mean, the idea is that in the long term, we'll be able to add all sorts of interesting features to the wallet and not affect the security posturing of it all. Because, that was the original intention with MoonPay, for example. It was about making IOTA more tangible and easy to use and accessible to people. But one thing I would say is that even though when you have these fallbacks, it's important that you don't, lose your vision. You still retain that vision, go back to the drawing board, work out how you can do it in a much more secure manner.
Right. No, that makes sense. Let me share my screen again so I can actually show where we stand right now, because I think it would be great to basically explain how far we've come with Firefly. So can you tell us a little bit more about where we stand with Firefly, and also where you think we're heading with it?
Yeah. So
the next, until the Chrysalis release, I mean, what's missing and all of that.
So we released the beta on Monday. What that means, I mean, we've been quite technical so far in this discussion, so might as well simplify things a little bit. So the beta release is, the first version that publicly people can test out, and it connects to the testnet, which is sort of a dummy network where we can try out the Chrysalis network before we push it live, before real money becomes involved, all of this kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So it's been in beta for a few days. We've had really nice response, like a lot of activity from the community. Like one thing you got to say is the IOTA community is phenomenal. They'll always help you out. Like when I think back to the Trinity beta times and now the Firefly beta times, some of the same people are still involved in both, like, really investing a lot of their spare time. And the same with the translations, like people really want to help out. And I really love that. But yeah, so beta will last until we go live with the migration. On the start of the migration period is the 21st of April, and then continues through to the 28th when the full network launches. During that time, we'll just be fixing any bugs identified during testing, any minor features that didn't make it into the beta. For example, we're going to have a way to view your address history, so you can see what funds are on what address, all of that kind of stuff. But by and large, there won't be many substantial changes. We have the migration itself, which is a separate part of the app that isn't in the beta. So we'll be testing the actual migration flow with a closed testing group ahead of the migration, making sure that everything works smoothly, making sure that people don't run into sort of user experience problems and friction points. And then the final piece is Ledger Nano integration, which we're trying to make sure that we get in ahead of the migration release. I mean, the fortunate thing we have with Ledger is that people who have ledgers tend to move their funds a little bit slower than other users. So we're trying our best to get that in and live on the Ledger Live store, so people can download it and use it with Firefly ahead of the migration.
Right. No, absolutely. And you like just taking a step back here to look at how amazing all of this fits together. I think one of the main, like, so far Chrysalis was not very tangible to the community, to all of you who are watching here today. Even for me, right? I did set up a node, but I didn't really transact on the network. And now with Firefly, everything is coming together. And Firefly is really this combination of the Chrysalis network, right? The node softwares running flawlessly together, the wallet RS library, Stronghold, and the GUI now. Everything is packed together into one beautiful piece of software. And just experiencing this for the first time was just wow. Because all of you, right? We can make fun about this now, but back in the old days, it wasn't very fun. Like when you were trying to show IOTA to your friends, you're like, why the fuck doesn't this thing confirm? You're
trying
like,
to reattach. Like
I already reattached. Why isn't it confirming, right? So it was quite unreliable back then, and that's a progression of software. We start out with an early release, we continuously innovate, we improve, we reflect on the decisions that we've made, and we change them, right? And we move forward with the objective of being production ready. And Firefly, Chrysalis, everything is really our testament to our clear path towards production readiness. So it's just absolutely amazing. And for those of you that really haven't tested Firefly yet, absolutely do it, because it's really, really just amazing to see transactions confirmed so reliably. And obviously this is a beta release. There's more to improve and bugs to fix, but we are very, very close.
I was going to say, it shows how stellar a job the protocol teams, the Hornet teams, the B teams have all done, that you have such I mean, from our point of view, I've been kind of working with the library development and the wallet development, which is right at the end of the stack. What we have available to us to work with is already in such a brilliant position before it comes to us that, it's testament to how high quality those guys are.
Totally. No, absolutely amazing job. Hornet team and also the B team, really, really tremendous. So this is where we stand. Everything is on track for the Chrysalis release. The migration will be done with Firefly, just so all of you know. On the 21st, there will be a Firefly release that allows you to transition from your current Trinity wallet to the Chrysalis network. And it should be a very smooth transition. overall. So I think that's really amazing.
Yeah, you just need to take your seed from Trinity, enter it into Firefly, and then go from there. And it doesn't matter what medium your seed is stored in. So you can either enter it in manually, you can import a seed vault, which was the old Trinity backup file, and then you also have the ledger, which you just plug in, and it would guide you through the process.
Yeah, no, that's amazing. I'm just trying to send around some tokens here to our viewers.
I always hate these live demos, but we're fortunate that it's already in quite a stable state.
Yeah,
tends to work well with Firefly.
Yeah, like usually I wouldn't do that, but we feel comfortable with it.
Mm-hmm.
So this is where we stand. Tell me about the mobile release. When are we going to have that, and what's sort of the roadmap in general for you?
Mm-hmm. So I'm quite lucky in that we have such a brilliant UX and design team in the foundation as well. You know, on the UX side, you have Andrew and Yanis, who have been kind of exploring all sorts of use cases throughout the development of Firefly. So like while we were building the desktop wallet or beginning to build it, they were already looking at things like digital assets and chat and contacts and stuff like that, trying to see how it would fit into the Firefly dashboard such that you know, it remains scalable and expandable from a sort of visual and usability point of view. Yeah. Now they have been working on the mobile stuff in parallel, so there will be mobile designs, mobile UX ready, basically for when we start building on it. So we did do some work for mobile. The initial plan was to release mobile and desktop at once, but we reduced the scope to make sure that we could do it properly and not rush things, and make sure that it all works flawlessly. So as soon as the migration happens and we're kind of comfortable and happy with the stability of the desktop version, we'll then you know, pivot our entire attention towards the mobile one, and you know, both iOS and Android. And we're in a fortunate position in the way it's been designed, you know, with all of these Rust libraries behind the scenes. You can have most of the app already ready to go before we get back to working on it. So the main pieces that we'll need to do are porting the user interface to mobile, which is something that is a relatively quick job. You know, we have a lot of very good front end developers in, you know, Martin and Begonia, Umer. And then we have to do the native side. So
does it rely on the same backend?
Yeah, it'll use the Rust, the Wallet RS and Stronghold, and the same wrappers that we have for those. But yeah, the only other part that we'll need to do is the native functionality. So any OS related activities. So let's say exporting a file to the file system, exporting your Stronghold, or say a QR scanner, that will need to be implemented. But I mean, I don't have explicit timelines. I don't like to give timelines, but I think
it's live.
People will come for me. The mobile wallet shouldn't take as long as the desktop one. Like, you know, most of the hard work for the desktop wallet was around the Rust libraries.
It's amazing.
We'll do that, and then roadmap from there. We're receptive. You know, like we're gonna kind of be flexible depending on what progress the IOTA protocol makes. So one thing I know is coming up soon is digital assets. So that will become a big priority for us pretty quickly. And so we'll just kind of pick and choose as things become ready in the IOTA ecosystem. And, you know, we're preparing for them already, but we'll begin the implementation, you know, as they crop up.
Totally. And you know, what we always say is that Firefly is more than just a wallet. It's really sort of this gateway to the machine economy. I think you actually said that Firefly is what connects the machine economy to the human economy, because Firefly is really this gateway where we are able to transact easily with the IOTA protocol and within the IOTA ecosystem. So it makes a ton of sense for Firefly to adapt itself and actually to lead the way for some of these new features that we're adding. Like Firefly will absolutely be the main wallet that you guys will be utilizing to store all of your crypto assets in the IOTA ecosystem, digital assets. You can store your NFTs, but it goes beyond that, right? It's also going to be about your digital identity, being able to store it there, being able to transact and verify yourself. And then think about smart contracts like MetaMask. I know there's a very exciting release coming out soon that is going in that direction, but you're going to hear more about that, which really shows how Firefly is going to open up the gateway to smart contracts so that you can easily participate in them. You can do your degen trading, or you can do your smart contracts with industry use cases. So it's really amazing. Mm-hmm. And everything is open source, and everybody here can start to contribute as well and utilize it. Which license is it? Apache
2.0, yeah.
Nice, very nice.
Seems to be the most flexible one for our purposes.
Yeah, and I know some other projects are moving to GPL because they want to be more restrictive on what others can do. Yeah, exactly. Uniswap is now GPL.
Well, they just got cloned, and all of their work just got taken by some. I mean, like, that's the whole idea with open source, but I think it was problematic for them. Like, they were like, "Oh, hang on a minute, this is such a good idea."
Right. I mean, open source is there to build trust. You can verify the code. Trust but verify. That's the keyword in blockchain. But I think the objective for us with Firefly is really to become the enabler of our broader ecosystem. So I think that's really amazing.
Yeah, we'll have all these sort of building blocks, right? So like, the wallet. To me, the wallet is just one building block, right? It's just one puzzle piece in a wider picture of potential use cases. We'll introduce the things like the contact system, which really reduces the difficulty of sending payments. It's a critical feature for a wallet. We'll introduce things like identity, introduce things like chat, communications, peer-to-peer communications, and what you basically get is this really nice toolkit of different features that can then go on to enable other use cases. So, I mean, a lot of people will be like, why do you want to build these things into a wallet? But it's sort of about what they can enable with the IoT ecosystem. And I think that ties in well to what you're saying around, gateway to the machine economy. Like through Firefly, you'll be able to engage in these sort of decentralized marketplaces and all of this kind of stuff in the future.
Right.
And, it's
the best thing that we can achieve with Firefly, and it's like sort of a long shot, is that it becomes this main smart city app that everybody relies on and where everybody's building a plugin for. Because today, I'm a really paranoid person, so I don't really download apps. So I don't really do delivery apps. I don't do Uber or stuff like that. Because it's also so painful to have 10 different apps for the same use case on your phone. It's just like one provider is slightly better than the other. So you have to download their app. And last weekend, I was sort of going down this DeFi route to try and educate myself. And one of the most amazing features is just you go on a website, you have your browser wallet, MetaMask, and you're able to just jump in. You don't need to sign up. You don't need to give your sensitive information. You don't need to create a password. You don't need to trust any third party, right? You just connect, you plug in, and you just start trading. You start to participate in the ecosystem. And I think the same can be achieved with Firefly, where Firefly holds your identity, it holds your assets, and then you can start transacting, plugging into those other applications. Like, absolutely, a future that we will enable is that there's going to be a smart scooter app where you want to book the scooter. The process of today is I need to download the stupid app, I need to sign up to the stupid app, and then I need to use the stupid app, right? The way that it should work is I just have my Firefly wallet, I know there's a scooter down there, and I just book it, right?
Mm-hmm. And or alternatively, like a website for the scooter app, and that will itself interface with Firefly and initiate a transaction, for example.
Or just the scooter identifies itself with my wallet. Hey, I'm Machine Scooter. I'm owned by whatever company. And all the company really fundamentally cares about is that I do a transaction to them, that they get paid. And sure, I can then opt in if I want to give them my email for marketing material. But today it's very intrusive, I would say. Mm-hmm. And everybody who is listening, you are on some kind of shady list, either an email list where they're spamming you stupidly, or your passwords are stolen. And we really need to think about how we can build these decentralized and secure future. And Firefly will be one of the enablers of that. So I'm very much looking forward to that. And because Firefly is open source, I definitely think we should start lobbying smart cities more, right? Taipei Firefly, Berlin Firefly app officially supported. Like that's kind of the vision.
Yeah, there's a lot you can do. Like with the digital assets, for example, like you could have, say, with digital assets that we're introducing, you can mint not just a single coin, but you could mint a batch of coins. So say a shopping mall in Berlin wanted to have its own sort of version of Firefly, or even use Firefly itself, they could mint a pool of tokens that then get used for reward points within that.
Right.
And they would have real world value. And we're seeing all sorts of kind of things like this, with reward points and in the automotive industry, and it's stuff that we're looking at as well. And there was that thing recently, I think, with Fiat, possibly with like Coin or something, where they're rewarding their customers for reporting data and stuff about roads and stuff, which is one of the use cases that we've been talking about for a while.
Yeah, like that's what we're doing with JLR, right? So Firefly is perfect, and I definitely think the Firefly wallet will look absolutely gorgeous in the screen of a car, like a Tesla in the middle. I think that would be amazing. Yeah, but it's moving towards that, and tremendous job, I would say. One last question I have is like, what about the name? Where did the name come from? We just so all of you know, naming a product is probably the most difficult and the most, like, I don't know how to put it mildly, but the most annoying processes that you can go through, because you come up with a brilliant name, you go on Wikipedia and you mash some stupid stuff together and you're like, yeah, that could make sense. And then you go to your trademark lawyers and they're like, nah, it's already registered in this and that trademark, and it's a high risk to use it.
You should share that South Park video. No, it's a nightmare, really. I mean, I think we were quite lucky with Firefly. Like, we had a short list. My methodology was to get a visual encyclopedia and just look through for relevant words, because I quite like having, naming products with a word that exists already, rather than creating a new one, because it sort of already has a level of gravity behind it.
Right.
And we had this long short list of names. Some people hated, some people didn't like. We sort of had this fairly democratic process within the IF of gauging like what people like, what people didn't like. And obviously we have this whole naming schema with the various insects, bee, hornet, honey, pollen, nectar, all of this stuff. And Firefly was like a nice adjunct name that sort of fit within that ecosystem, and people liked it. And as you say, the trademark lawyers were happy, and we were able to register it.
Yeah, I actually, initially with every name, you don't really like it, but the more you start to get used to it, the more you see it as well, the more you like it. And I think the community also really loves the name. And it's better than Trinity, because Trinity always had like a weird religious connotation to it.
Religious connotation, connotations of trinary. I mean, it's relevant to IOTA. Right? It's not as relevant in a binary IOTA, I suppose.
Yeah, no, that's really good. But yeah, so we have a very concrete roadmap ahead. Any other closing statements from your side?
Keep using it. Keep reporting bugs. This beta period is sort of the best chance you have to contribute and kind of get your feature suggestions and stuff in early before roadmaps become too cemented and that sort of stuff. So yeah, keep using it. Keep giving us feedback. Like, we love to hear from people.
Yeah, absolutely, and keep participating in the Chrysalis network until we go live. And just so all of you know, right, the migration itself, I think that's one of the main things that people always get worried about. It will be a very smooth transition for all of you, and the Firefly team and the wallet will make sure of that. So I think you're all in good hands here with Charlie. So maybe some closing comments from my side, right? Let's all become Zen. Let's stay focused. Let's stay patient. Where only the roller coaster will get us to the promised land. But as we have those guided rails on a roller coaster, we should just enjoy the ride and continue to look forward.
Manna from heaven as we reach the promised land.
So yeah, thank you everybody for watching. See you next Wednesday. Just so you all know, we're probably going to change the time because I guess all of you want to do something else on a Friday evening now that it's getting nicer outside and countries are starting to open up soon, I hope. So we're probably going to change it Tuesday, Thursday, but we're going to let you decide. I'm going to do a poll on that. But enjoy your weekend and make sure to download the Firefly wallet. Make sure to congratulate the team on their achievement with the wallet and also with the entire Chrysalis stack. And with that, always stay Zen, guys. Bye-bye.